Alhamdulillah, assalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thanks for joining us again this week at the Man's World podcast. And you should already know what we're about. We're talking about all issues related to men living in the West and how to be successful in all aspects of your life, in this life and in the hereafter, inshallah. So we have a few clips today that we're going to dive right into. Again, if there's any questions or comments, go ahead and hit them in the chat, and we'll get right at it. So let's see here. So the first one's kind of an unfortunate story that just, popped up. If you can see that there, the headline is breaking news: ex-husband arrested in murders of Ohio dentist and his wife. And a man has been arrested in connection with the double murder of his ex-wife and her Ohio dentist husband just before the new year, according to court records. And I have a little video we'll play here as well, just covering the gist of the situation.
This morning, the Columbus, Ohio police chief speaking out for the first time about the tragic murder of dentist Spencer Tepe and his wife Monique in their home over the holidays.
This case is definitely disturbing. We want to bring some justice to the family.
Chief Elaine Bryant sitting down with ABC affiliate WSYX Thursday to discuss the murder mystery. It was just before New Year's Eve when the Tepes were found shot to death inside their Columbus, Ohio home the morning of December 30th. Their two young kids still inside.
I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell, but we can't get in.
Police found their 4-year-old daughter and 1-year-old son unharmed.
We know that there are a lot of concerns and a lot of questions surrounding this case, and we want to.
And that's pretty much the gist of the case, is that I tried to see if there was any motive released yet, but it's still kind of early for them to release that. But I mean, you have an ex-husband killing his ex-wife and her new husband. And I didn't get any details whether those were his kids or her kids, but alhamdulillah, at least he left the kids alone,
So the ex-husband, I think they have been divorced, or they got divorced back in 2017. So this is almost, 8 years at least, 9 years almost.
Okay.
So who knows? And they got divorced in 2017. So the relationship could have been over, for more than 10 years.
Yeah.
And so why I feel like that this story is important to cover is because you have an ex-husband who, like I said, the official motive and he's innocent until proven guilty because he was arrested for this. But when you have and a lot of people are guilty of what the ex-husband allegedly is guilty of. And what's that? He was married to a woman for a certain amount of years. For whatever reason, the relationship did not work out. I've seen some stories online. They say, well, she left him and married a doctor, the usual stereotypical stories. She found or met someone who was better and more affluent or richer or younger, or more handsome, whatever it was, and fell for him, left him. They got divorced. She married someone else and lives happily ever after. And he is, he loved her, cared about her, whatever. And he, after 10 years, still has not gotten over it, to the point where he not only killed her, but also her new husband. Mm-hmm. And when I say that some people are guilty of what the husband was guilty of, not the murders, allegedly.
Right.
But to still be so emotionally caught up in your life being consumed by the ex and their life, and they've moved on, and you have not been able to move on as well.
Yes.
So, just because you say, well, that guy is terrible, he has gone to the extent of, allegedly murdering someone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of people are not doing that, but they still are in a small way, because and I'll let you comment on this, but I would say if a person can think to themselves now, unless the ex is literally doing something negative or evil or something that's harming you physically, financially, socially, or something like that. But for the most part, if that ex has just moved on for whatever reason, they left you for whatever reason, and they've moved on, and if you're thinking to yourself, man, I wish and I hope something bad would happen to her and her significant other, then you have at least a little bit of what this guy allegedly had.
Yeah.
He had more of it because it drove him to do something terrible. But we have to make sure that we don't have that, as well.
Yeah, and you could tell whether, like you said, whether he's guilty of the actual murder or not. For them to actually bring him in and arrest him as a suspect after a marriage that was over for 9 to 10 years, at least shows that he had some involvement with his ex that he shouldn't have had. Right? It was like she's married for 10 years, and now she said they got divorced 10 years ago. If the kid was 4 years old, obviously not his kid, right? So it's not like you have kids together. Maybe so there's no reason really for you to be involved in her life at all, right? And for people to know, people that kind of watch this stuff, well, I'm pretty sure all the women do, because every woman watches crime dramas and documentaries and all that. We know this happens a lot. It's not like some kind of random thing, because always in every situation, the first suspect is, where's the ex? Or where's the husband, right? That's what goes to. So like Mubarak said, he's at least guilty of being involved in a way that he should not have been involved in with her life after 9 to 10 years. And this happens all the time with men. We have to, when we're in these situations, divorce, breakup, whatever, you have to get yourself into a mental space where you can move on and away from, because it's very negative. And if it's not you being obsessed, the extreme case of murder or whatever, there's stalking, there's just the individual negativity of you not being able to have any success in your life, because you're looking at it like, I don't know, I forgot how old they said she was, but a decade of a man's life, I'm pretty sure we can assess that he didn't advance anywhere in his life in 10 years because his focus was his ex, right? As much as you love somebody, as much as you care for somebody, as much as you want somebody, there should be a general rule for us men that if they show any signs that they don't want you, then you should not want them. Very simply, just move on, and it's very unfortunate.
And so let me ask you a question, Dr. Griffin. If you say that, because let me play the other side. Okay, and we're not talking about every man who's going to go to this level or extreme, but like I said, a lot of men still have some of these tendencies to at least have the urge, or at least have the thought, and will still be caught up with their ex. So let's just say a man who has, invested a lot of time and energy into a relationship and with a woman that he truly loved, and she, for all he knew, he was, doing everything right and great or whatever, but someone who was a little bit richer, maybe a little bit better looking or whatever, meets her, works in his office, whatever it might be, and she leaves her husband for him. Now, the husband who's got left, legitimately, there's something to feel emotional about. He has a huge investment of time and energy in whatever. Maybe he thought she was perfect for him and he was the best girl that he ever had, whatever. So, I mean, can you just dismiss that? Because it's a reality. It does happen where a woman, she meets someone who she perceives as a better catch and just leaves.
Right.
And so should he just dismiss that? I mean, it's a little dismissive to think that he could just, oh, I'm over it. So what can?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Because it kind of boils down to especially from the Muslim perspective, we know we're going to receive tests and trials, right? And we have to chalk this up as it's a test and trial. And, what we use is we use the Quran, we use the Hadith, we use the Sunnah, how to guide our lives. And to me, what comes to mind is the ayats where verily after hardship comes ease, verily after hardship comes ease. And it's not just, as Muslims, some of us have this, not just as Muslims, but anybody that's religious, some of us has this false notion that when Allah is telling us to trust in him, and Allah is promising us that after hardship, there's going to come ease, that we just sit and wait for it, right? So just like any other thing that goes wrong in our lives, whether it's bad decisions, whether it's our fault, or just clearly someone just transgressing against us, because you could chalk this up as like, hey, I was doing everything right. She just left me for a better version or new model or whatever. So you have to use that as motivation to actually take active steps so that you can have that ease, right? We don't just sit there, like if we're drowning in the water, we don't just go limp and think laws and lift. We at least tread water. We see a boat, we at least call out for help, right? This is what we do, right? So, man, yeah, you have every right to feel upset, disappointed. But when we encounter these types of situations in our lives, as men, we have to turn it into some way that it can benefit us, right? Like I was talking to one individual where he had a certain text message from his ex-wife, and he uses that as motivation to go work out, right? That's his motivation. So if you know that your wife that you loved, you care for her, and the only reason she left you is because someone made more money, was more successful, whatever, that's a sign to you like, hey, maybe I need to up my game so that this doesn't happen to me in the future, so that I'm the guy that women are like, oh, I need to be with him. Use it as motivation.
Well, I would say, and even if here's the test. If you are seeing your ex's like social media or post or Facebook or whatever it is, because a lot of people, they do that, they stalk their ex's social media or whatever.
Yeah.
If you are having a visceral emotional reaction, if you're having actions of anger, of some you're thinking something really negative, then you need to, I would say just in general, you shouldn't be following the social media at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's something where, it's still negative energy that is harming you in some way, whether it's to the level of this guy where he goes and does some horrible action, or it's just taking up your time, which these people she no longer is going to have any benefit in your life. You're not going to be able to benefit from reminiscing about her or just looking at her and being angry. Don't follow their social media. You got to leave that. And and also I would say that you should move on. Some people do have trouble, they may have trouble finding someone who they think, and this is a mistake, who they think is equal to or better than what they had. So they're thinking,
right,
well, I'm going to outdo that. You might not be able to do that. You need to find someone who fits with you, with your personality, with what you like and what you need. Regardless, not factoring in whatever your ex was before that. They can be completely different. And the last thing I will say is that you definitely need to have, especially if you are susceptible to having emotional reactions to what happened with your ex, you need to have people to talk to.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big therapy person. I think a lot of those therapists are scams. I don't think what you're doing. But I would say what works better than that is actually to have someone who sincerely is a person who cares about you, who knows you, and that you can talk to and about it. I would not recommend discussing it with women. Sometimes they might. It depends on the woman, but a lot of times, other men will give you excellent advice on, these type of things. They'll tell you exactly what you really need to hear. They're not going to really sugarcoat it, but a lot of men keep these things inside, but I would say if you're a type of person who's struggling with, getting over the ex or whatever, don't waste your time in your life, trying to do things to get their attention back or hoping to win them back, or to the point where you're so angry and you can't move on that you want to harm them in some way. Now, talk to somebody, stop following their social media, and have some outlet to where you can talk to it and discuss with, and you'll probably see that just getting it out there that you can move on and you can go ahead and have a great life too. Their life does not have to be ruined and they can live happily ever after without you, and you can do the same.
Yeah. You mentioned something that kind of reminded me of what was going through my mind when I was actually listening to this story and seeing the pictures of them all happy and all that. I'm like, this is clearly from social media.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you go back and I'm like, yeah, this guy was probably sitting there watching Facebook. New Year's is like supposed to be like one of the most romantic nights of like non-Muslims' lives, because that's whatever, that's how they do, right? New Year's Eve, you get your kiss on New Year's Eve as it hits 12 midnight, blah blah blah. And I was like, just imagine, like, hey, he's probably seeing just all the pictures of all their great life, and who knows if their life was even that great. But the pictures make it like, oh man, this is a Cinderella story. Look how happy they are. And he's absorbing that. But it's just another warning of just, even on the other side, don't broadcast your lives on social media. Like what for? All the people that know you actually know your real life. You don't need to put that out on social media. I know it's the norm now to just like put everything on there and all that, but some of those pictures are clearly like, stage photography, professional photographers and all that. But that's what popped in my mind. And again, like you already hit it on the head. It's just, listen, don't be obsessed. If you are finding a hard time getting over something like that, then find some help, do whatever you can to try to get over it. And I guess one of the things that kind of boils down to me is this is obviously something that relates to the topic of like revenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wanted revenge. And I've talked to multiple people that's been in situations where someone's left them, there's divorce, separation, whatever. And this idea of revenge always kind of comes up. And the best revenge that you can do in a situation like this is for you to actually just be happy,
mm-hmm.
right? And for you to be happy, you take those steps to be happy. And again, like when you said about like, don't try to, like, you think you have to get a better version of your ex, that's not what's going to actually, because what they're thinking in their mind is, okay, I'm going to marry this person so that when my ex sees this person, she's like, oh my God, how could he get someone like her, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's not actually going to happen no matter who you marry, right? You can marry, I don't know, Beyonce, and you're like, yeah, she used to be with that ugly nigga Jay-Z. Like, they're gonna find something wrong if that's the type of person they are. But what really will get under their skin, if you're on this, like, I want them to feel some type of way when I finally move on, when they just see you happy and smiling, just like most likely this guy did, seeing his ex-wife happy and smiling on social media pics, and then he just could not get over the fact that, hey, she's happy and I'm still here 10 years later, not doing anything in my life. You know what? I got something for y'all.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll just say this real quick. I know we got to move on to the next one, but
Good.
For those people that think, okay, I need to get someone who, when my ex or when other people see, they'll see, oh, wow, I did well or whatever. Listen, when you have a good relationship, the best things about that relationship, nobody else sees. They can't see it and they can't feel it. The best thing, the thing that you say, man, this is great. This is I'm very happy in this relationship. Those things, no one will be able to see it or feel it, but you, another person. So that is something that people just don't get. I think people, that's the part where you're actually chasing the wrong thing. They will never be able to really see or feel why you really enjoy and are fulfilled in the relationship. So
exactly.
don't even go that route.
Exactly. He just made me think of a few examples, and it's like, yeah, obviously, like, no one's ever going to see that.
Yeah,
it's performative. Like, let's sing just for everybody. But speaking of things that you can't see, or things that may be hidden under things that you obviously see, we have this clip to share with you guys. And this is from an older movie with Jack Nicholson and what's her name? Michelle Pfeiffer, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think I understand what you're like now. You're very beautiful, and you think men are only interested in you because you're beautiful. But you want them to be interested in you because you're you. The problem is that aside from all that beauty, you're not very interesting. You're rude, you're hostile. You're sullen, you're withdrawn. I know you want someone to look past all that at the real person underneath. But the only reason that anyone would bother to look past all that is because you're beautiful. Ironic, isn't it? In an odd way, you're your own problem.
I just love this clip, man. It's like, man, it cuts so deep, man.
Yeah.
And I look at this and I think of, most movies are trash. Like nowadays, movies are just like there's no substance to them, man. This is an old movie, so
it's just entertainment nowadays. Just yeah.
But I'll say this: a lot of men make this mistake. Kind of what Jack Nicholson was saying is about how the men will see a person who's beautiful, and then they will try to justify all that craziness that he was talking about, and fit it in there. And this is kind of what I saw from the clip. And there's more to it, but women sometimes, and this could be a situation where how we had the first clip where with the double murder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that sometimes what women will do, they will see the person who's physically attractive or whatever, or fun, the bad boy or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then when they're ready to settle down, they find the nice, reasonable, those things that are, what's the word? Not the flashy thing. They settle for the boring guy, the stable guy,
Right.
the guy who's got his life together. And so, but a lot of women do figure that out after a while, and some of them that are lucky, they can get a good, reasonable guy after they, experience a little bit. But for the men, for some reason, we still will see a woman who maybe like this, that they have all these, that they might be completely nuts and all those other things. Because they're beautiful, we actually will try to overlook all that. But women kind of figured it out a little bit, but some men are still struggling with that, because it's not easy to just say, okay, well, this person is very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have that attraction, but I would say that, and I think I know that I've said it before, but when they say, okay, well, when they say a woman, oh, she has a nice personality, that usually means she's ugly. But I mean, listen, after, I'm talking about decades of being in relationships, and man, listen, the number one factor, the number one thing is a personality that fits with yours. It's the number one thing. I mean, it actually will make everything else better and more beautiful and more attractive and all that stuff. So
exactly. That's 100%. I mean, and again, there's not much more to really even say about that, because as men, since it's a Man's World podcast, we have to stop doing this mistake. And you see just, I don't know what movie this is from, but I would like to see the context of the whole movie. Because I'm just thinking, like, what happens after this? Because men are afraid to do what he just did, right? Mm-hmm. If we look at it in Islamic context, where, like, if we imagine this is a sit down, or like he expressed interest in her wali, that he wanted to marry her, so they're having their first meeting, and instead of acting like the little, like, hee cuckoo, I don't want to say anything, just say, like, he basically told her the truth. Now, most men would be afraid to do what he just did. And I would say even us at a certain age, like, I don't want to upset because she's so pretty and I like her and whatever. But I guarantee you, in like a real life situation, she is going to go head over heels for this guy just because he was able to tell her something that most men wouldn't, right? Because he's able to, a lot of women don't know how to handle a man that can communicate with them when he doesn't actually want anything from them, right? Because most men, because he wants to get married or he wants to, whatever with the woman, he's not going to say this, right? And it's the regular, you're so beautiful and you're so smart. And he's going to hit her with they're going to hit him with all the compliments that every other guy before him came and said. But if you're that guy that actually could say the truth, speak your mind, and be confident about it, and then the little touch of just drinking a glass of milk right after was just like, So it's like, and it's almost like, going back, like it's almost a sign. It's like he's not drinking alcohol. He's in his right mind. Not telling you the truth, right?
Yeah.
And I bet she's going to be extremely attracted to him after this point.
Yeah, and sometimes and there's always a level. Like I was just talking to a brother on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We was talking about he wanted to marry a girl or whatever, and so we was talking to him. But there is, so one brother was saying how he has so much trouble with dealing with disrespect from his wife or whatever, and how he was kind of like anti, don't get married or whatever because it disrespect. I said, listen, there is a certain type of or level of man that can get a woman to respect him or whatever. But if you can't do it, then it just might not be for you. But there's always a level. Like for instance, in this clip where Jack Nicholson is talking to her and she's listening.
Yeah.
And so he's telling a lot of things about herself that you may, for instance, not you, but like or me or anybody, you may talk to a woman about themselves and some of the things that they need to improve on. And they might not, I ain't listening to nothing you got to say. Now, someone may be a little bit better, a little bit richer, a little bit whatever. She might be willing to listen. So that's just how it goes. So, but a lot of men make the mistake of not really looking at kind of what he did. What he broke down was these are the things that are not desirable about you. You are pretty, but you got all this other stuff going on. And so therefore, that's why you're having an issue. And so he's not just going to overlook all the things that don't fit with what he likes or what he thinks are attractive. Yeah. And so we have to be there. We have to be able to identify those things that are not attractive or appealing to us about a certain traits that some women may have. And you cannot overlook that. Otherwise, you're agreeing that you're just going to take that negative with the bad. It's like if you order some food, not to reduce women to a plate of food or whatever. But if you're like, hey, listen, I like, pickles on my sandwich, but I don't like, mustard or whatever. Now, if the sandwich comes with mustard and you don't even like it, you can't be mad when you bite into it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just thinking about, because women do this a lot, I know. Because women they'll recognize, so like men will ignore like the red flags because of the beauty, right? Mm-hmm. Usually just because of the beauty. Women will recognize the red flags, whether it's because of beauty, money, power, more factors than men, right? The men's like, oh, she's beautiful. All right, nothing else is wrong, right? Women, oh, he got money. Oh, he's handsome, or he's whatever. But they won't ignore it. They usually go into the relationship thinking they could change it, right? Oh, he's gonna change, and he's gonna, this and that. Like he's handsome, but he's broke. But he's gonna go to school and get a job and get his GED. Like, all right. And some men might think that as well, but I'm sitting there thinking while you're talking, I don't know of anybody that's ever actually changed in my life. Maybe a couple of qualities here and there, but not like they have 5 red flags and they got rid of all 5 red flags. They might have had 5 red flags and then they got rid of like 1 or reduced 1 to like a little bit. So I would say, like, when you're going into a relationship, this is for men and women, don't think that a person's going to change their values or their characteristics. You may be able to think that you can add characteristics to somebody, like you can add features, but that's the base model. Don't think like, oh, like you ordered that sandwich and it's wrapped up already, so it has mustard and pickles and all that. Yeah, you can go and get salt and pepper and add it to it, but don't think that the mayonnaise is just going to disappear. It's going to be there no matter what you do. You might be able to wipe it away off the bread a little bit and, but there's still going to be traces of mayonnaise on that sandwich. You're going to get no matter what.
Yeah, and if you try to actually get all of that mayonnaise off the sandwich, you'll destroy the sandwich. You will not be able to remove you won't be able to remove it all. But I would say, like, what do you think about when you say, because when you said people don't actually change, and so I'm thinking, and I think there's some truth to that, but also there may be a thing where we have to separate between habits, okay, and personality traits. Like if a person is selfish, if I'm a selfish person, right?
Yeah.
I don't like. I'm thinking to myself of all the selfish people. I'm people that are genuinely they are selfish and they are self-centered. They can't, and they're not able to even perceive it, even when they're young.
Yeah.
20 years later, 30 years later, they're still that same person.
Yep.
They still have that in them. Now they may have matured a little bit, but they still have those traits. Now, I think habits, like for instance, if a person, they were a smoker, but they stopped.
Right.
They were they had a certain they had certain habits, but they stopped. I think habits can change.
They were whatever. Yeah.
So I think in that way, just so people don't get confused, I think that if you see a person, and if a woman says, "Oh, this," because I've seen it happen multiple times where it was like, "Yeah, I'll marry the brother if he stops smoking." And the brother stopped smoking for 2 weeks.
Immediately.
Yeah, stop smoking for 2 weeks, and then after he gets married, he's chimney again. But those are things that I would not. I mean, if a woman made that condition, I would say she's a little foolish because he can go back to smoking after he gets married. But things like that, I think people can change bad habits. But the personality traits, I think those are the type of things where you're not going to change. You're not going to change that those things. Yeah. So you have to learn to either live with them or don't engage.
That's a good distinction too, because you have to look at like the habits. You have to look at the actions, like the habits and action. So but there's a characteristic behind that action that may be causing it. Look at that and say like, okay, well. Has he, like, say it's let's just say he has an addictive characteristic. That's what caused him to smoke or whatever. He could easily change that to working out or whatever, positive things. Like that characteristic that caused him to get down that road may change it. He may be a previous womanizer that was with a bunch of women. That action, he might stop that action. Like, I don't just go around and be around a bunch of women. I now take that characteristic that made me to be a lover boy, a romantic or whatever. I focus that now on my wife, right? Or whatever. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Distinguish between the actions and the thing that's actually causing action, which is a personality trait, a characteristic or whatever. But yeah, don't think you're going to change the sandwich. You're going to destroy it, or someone else will take it and eat it.
Hey, listen, yeah.
Oh man! All right, so we got one more clip here for you guys. This one was. I'm about to sign up for this one though. Okay, what you offering? So we have an individual. I think he's some kind of wealthy individual, but we'll play the clip for you guys. Oh, we got it muted. Hold on.
Be what she should be, like what age group. So tell us about your ideal woman.
So just for a little context real quick, it's a British aristocrat with a daughter, right? Aristocrat means he's probably part of like the royal lineage or whatever, noble class. Basically, he's rich, right? He probably has a castle and, domains and lands and all that. He's seeking a breeder to give him a male heir so that he can inherit all this wealth and property.
ideal woman really got to be castle trained. She can't
What
be
does
a
castle trained mean?
well. You know, these big places, they have lots of keys and they have lots of rooms, and it's hard work.
How many keys do you have, Sir Ben?
I really don't know. It's not my department.
Yeah.
That's for the housekeeper's department.
Yes.
So running these big houses is a nightmare. So we need them castle trained.
Well,
and
you can rule out my wife for a start, even though I would like to do a deal here. But do you know what I spent my life doing at night? Going round, locking the doors that you have after
left
you.
open.
She needs
Sounds
everything
like that.
opened. But
So
that's what I spent. So
I'm not your woman.
She's not going to be castle trained, right?
right.
Right. So
Right.
age group?
Well, they've got to be quite on the young side because it's hard work. You know, these older ones just want to travel, go around the world and put their feet up. And I can't be doing with that.
You can't because there's a lot to do,
There's a lot to do. And I
including
don't
having children.
But you
Yes.
don't want to do any of it. You just want her to do
I
it.
want to go off and have fun, and it's much better. And I like going out and making money and having fun. And actually, I can't do that if I have to worry about hiring people. For instance, I have no skills when it comes to human resources. I once hired 5 mad women on the trot. You know, one after another. One had run a madhouse. One went off, left me, and went into a madhouse. Wasn't my fault. And various other lunatics. And so I have not got the skills to cope with all that.
So when you're off travelling around the world and having fun, what is this wife of yours doing back home? You're not taking her with you, clearly.
Well, obviously, I go on trips. I have to go up to London to whatever it is, and so then I got to go out and make them the money, and the women run the houses.
Right.
But also, you know, they do take them on holiday as well.
You know that is a very old-fashioned notion these days, that women run the houses. I don't run a house. I'm at work today, as you go to work. So
You're not a candidate.
where do you think you're going to find this woman who's happy to stay at home and run your house or houses while you're off having fun?
Well, you've got them. There's sometimes it's bred in them, and as I say, they're a bit castle trained, and they like running houses. I don't know what colour to paint anything. I don't do flowers. I can't do the garden.
But then it's
They
like
like
you're
to-
describing a housekeeper. Are you actually looking for love? Because there are lots of people that would go and work in a big house and run a house and be paid.
I've got 3 things I need. I need an executive, a chief executive. It'd be nice if they were a breeder, a lover.
A breeder as in what, a horse breeder or what?
Well,
breed?
obviously of an age where they could have a couple of sons or something like that.
Oh, a child breeder.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need, and just sons?
Sons count. We need an heir and a spare, but girls are okay. Yeah,
Girls are okay. Prefer
we've got to
boys.
have 2 boys first, then we start having the girls.
Just want to say, I can understand if a lot of you are of pension for the job that's being advertised here.
You do have.
Oh man, this was I never watched the whole thing like that.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And then, I mean, so listen. I mean, I think he was more than reasonable. He was very clear about what he wanted.
Yeah.
He was clear about the job. You know, it's hard work taking care of all his houses. He's got a lot of keys. I mean, guy's probably filthy rich. And I'll say this: listen, I got 5 daughters. I mean, this guy obviously he's not Muslim, but
Hey.
if he was,
I was thinking the same thing.
I'd be like, hey, listen, take one for the team, girl. Somebody take one for the team. You ain't got much longer.
We'd be up, after 3 months after you're married, we'd be up in one of them castles.
Yeah.
Oh, I know all these keys go. Shoot.
Yeah, but I mean, in all seriousness, he's completely reasonable, and I don't even see it as a bad deal. I mean, that guy looks to be in his 80s, which number one, I mean, maybe he lives 20 more years. Okay, and I'm not saying that anybody should be racing to do it, but I think it should be given some good consideration. I mean, think
about it. Like I said, he's out of here in less than 10 years, right? Less than 10 years. Think about someone who's 20-something years old. Let's talk about the typical American, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go to college when they're 20, get ran through for the next at least 5 to 6 years, right? And then try to find somebody that they marry. They're going to struggle for 5, 6 years, get divorced. Now she's 30s, mid-30s, right? Working, individual, maybe has some kids, dealing with alimony, child support, custody, all that type of stuff. Then maybe if they're lucky, find someone around when they're 35, 40, that they might marry someone that's 45, 55, around that age. That's like, okay, I'm finally settling down.
Mm.
When, in fact, instead, when you're 20 years old, you can get ran through by one person for maybe 2 to 3 years, 5, 10 max. Be a widow, have an heir and a spare that's going to inherit all this fortune. You are set for life. And you're actually ahead of the game by like a decade by all the other women in your class.
I mean, if you're 20, I mean, you could go to college for 4 years, post-grad, 2-3 years. Then, even if you go 2-3 more, you become a doctor or something. So you might go to school for 10 years. You won't make as much money as you'll get immediately. You're not going to be able to. So that's number one. And a lot of women, they will allegedly not even be in a relationship or whatever while they're focusing on school or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I mean, you're going to spend, in their mid 30s, they decide, oh, well, now I want to try to look around, settle down or whatever. You can skip all that. You literally just skip to go collect your $200. I mean, or 200 million or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And the thing is, where the host lady was being a little, she obviously was was trying to play him. She was being a little sarcastic, like, no one's gonna know. I mean, I think it's reasonable. And he said, listen, it's hard work. So you taking care of well, he calls it a castle. I'm pretty sure it's not like a castle, but they probably still call him castle. He lives in a mansion, basically, or mansions, plural. He talked about exactly. Multiple. So, I mean, him being, 90 years old aside, I would tell my own daughter or my own sister or whoever that, that's more than fair. I mean, yeah, I'll be a housekeeper. You be a housekeeper. Oh, you're looking for a maid. Okay. It's part of the job to, he's like, and it's reasonable. He's like, I don't know anything about keeping the house or making flowers and maintaining this. I don't do that. He said, I make the money, which, is reasonable. I don't see anything that is even remotely bad about what he's saying. It's very clear.
Three things, right? He only had three those: to have kids, mm-hmm. to be the chief executive of his estate, which is a job. It's actually probably more prestigious job than this news anchor, right?
yeah.
And then to be in love. So it's not like he's just looking for a mate. He's looking for someone compatible with, to have conversation. And he said, yeah, she'll be going on holidays too, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, she's going to get that side benefit. So I think she was just mad because she was out of the running. Like, like some little girl, teenager or not teenager, like you young 20 girl, half my age, and come and get all this from this guy while I'm here working my behind off, single with a cat at home.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, man, if you could take anything from that besides the entertainment, is that this guy, probably by birth, not really of his own working habits or whatever, but financially stable, right? 80 years old. And because of that life success, he's probably he could probably go take that dentist wife if she was still alive.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? You guys tune in next week. Inshallah, we'll have some more content for you guys, and look forward for our future series. I think we're doing it on this channel and our Return of Fitcha channel, when we talk about the dilemma or the issues surrounding secret misyar marriages and the single Muslim woman numbers exploding, especially in certain parts of the world. So thank you guys for joining us. Again, any questions or comments, leave them in the comments and we'll get back to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.